Welcome everyone to the 2023-2024 season of the Bowling Promotion Tour. Continuing with our Team Baker competition, Team Sirius has earned a berth in the championship match by defeating both Team Mercury and Team Comets. And today in our other semifinal, it's Team Orion versus Team Worlds. On the Worlds team, we have Kenny B.O., Jaime Gonzalez, the captain, Halvar Hagen-Nielsen, and Jack Blythe. And over on Team Orion, it's Karen Kiergaard, Anthony Trigodet, Caral Orange, and Gerald Danson. And this is, of course, Baker competition, meaning that each bowler will bowl either 2 or 3 frames in the match, and they will combine to make a single score. And it was Team Orion shooting 181 over Team Vega in our first quarterfinal, which earned them the right to face the Worlds team here today. And it will be Kenny B.O., the lefty, kicking things off for the Worlds team on this left lane. This is our 4th match on this Gateway Arch oil pattern, and we are seeing some transition. We started to see it in our last match, and let's see what happens here as we go through. We've seen lefties and righties start to beat up on this pattern. Let's see if it's changing a little bit for these players. And here is B.O. Gets it out to the spot, and there's an example of what we're talking about. That ball got down to the mid lane and read hard off the dry. And watch this, pretty good shot. I think he crosses about the 12 where he's been playing, right out to the 3rd or 4th board, but it just turns sharply through the nose and leaves the big 4. I don't think B.O. expected that. And he's definitely going to have to make a move off that shot. That was a pretty good shot. I think he got it to where he wanted it, and the ball just hooked in the mid lane. And then he chops the 4 off the 7 to leave the Worlds team with 7 out in the first frame. And you can see he's just trying to go cross lane, maybe get 2, maybe bounce it out. But unfortunately chops the 4 off the 7 for the 7 count to kick things off. And here is Karen Kiergaard, another lefty. And she'll be on the right lane kicking things off for Team Orion. And that's a pretty good shot. And that ball comes up a little bit high as well. We've seen some lefties on that right lane as well. Comes up high but just leaves the 6 pin. And Karen's twin sister, Sophie, of course, coming up with a huge double in the 10th to defeat the Comet team in our last match. And that punched their ticket into the final. So if Karen's team can win here, it will be the twins facing each other once again, as they did in the Masters stepladder. And good cover there on the 6 pin by Karen. She switches over to the less hooking ball, still puts it right on the dry, and does get a fair bit of hook cross lane over to that 6 pin. So good cover there. Now we'll move on to Anthony Trigodet, the lefty, 36-year-old Frenchman. And Anthony was throwing a fairly weak ball in the last match, not seeing a lot of back end on his reaction. And let's see how he does here. And again, straight up the lane, right at him. And oh my goodness, that ball deflected quite a bit at the pocket and leaves the 7-9, just barely taking out the 5. I think he was looking for more back end than that. He might want to move to something a little bit stronger. Let's see, straight up the lane, right at him, right up second arrow, right where you play, and it just deflects when it hits the pins. Just not a lot of power there through the shot. And it didn't look like a bad release. It looks like he's got hit on the ball. Just the ball's just not going through the pins the right way at all. He'll move over and just take 1 of that 8 split. So we'll have 27 in the second for the Orion team. And that will return the favor of the Open over to the Worlds team. Now it's Jaime Gonzalez from Colombia throwing that shined up reality check, looking to get that ball down the lane and give it some back end. You can also see the pin-up drilling there, and that's a ball. Combine the shine with that pin-up drilling, and that ball is going to go down the lane and pick up a little harder off the friction. And there it is, way down the lane, turns up through the pocket for a perfect strike. Good shot there by Gonzalez. And there's someone who knows about transition, which these lanes are clearly going through. Now we'll get our first look at Halvar Hagen-Nielsen. Halvar, seen him over here in the U.S. bowl quite a bit of competition. He comes over as a guest of Amy and Chris Viali, who have been part of these telecasts in the past. He was here over our Thanksgiving vacation time, bowling the Northeast Megabucks tournament. And let's see how he does here. And Halvar, look at that beautiful release, gets through it, dead flush through the pocket to put up a solid double for this Worlds team. Look at this release, solid at the line, nice deep knee bend, gets around it, and look at that purple hammer pick up on the back end and goes right through the pins perfectly. And there's the double, and that's going to give the Worlds team a quick 10-pin lead here as we move into frame 3. Now Caral Orange, the accomplished senior, had some very good shots in our last match, left a smash 7-pin, so very unfair hit, and threw a strike on her other shots, so she's been throwing it very well. Unfortunately, this shot hooks to the Brooklyn side and goes over to leave just the 6-pin. And let's see what happened here. Looks like she got around it a little bit, maybe a little bit of a chicken wing. And then, of course, on the breakdown, it picks up on the dry. And that completes the journey over to the Brooklyn side, unfortunately, for Carol. And let's see if she goes cross lane. Yep, with the white dot, plastic. And she'll go straight at the 6-pin. And no problem there. As we mentioned, the winner of this match will face Team Sirius. Team Sirius, in their first match against Team Mercury, started with the front 7. And then, of course, Sophie Kiergaard throws that clutch triple in the 10th to put away Team Comets 213 to 202, a match that went right down to the 10th frame. Very exciting. And the winner of this match will face them in the championship for this Baker team competition. And there goes Gerald Danson, and a good shot there. 56-year-old Danson straight up the lane, and he's left playing right up the dry, and it turns up through the pocket, and beautiful strike there. That's going to put a strike up on the board for the Orion team. And now it's going to be Jack Blythe. We've also seen him in the U.S. bowling various events, and it will be Jack looking to put a triple up on the board for the Worlds team and extend their lead to 20 pins. Wonderful fundamentals on this young Englishman. And look at that line position, look at that release, and look at that result. Perfect shot down the lane. Watch the way this ball picks up on the back end. And I think both these bowlers, Jaime Gonzalez and Jack, have moved in a little bit. That's going to cross around 13 board maybe, but it gets right out to the spot, and dead flush, 3 dead flush shots by the Worlds team now. And now already back to Kenny Bio, who had that rather disastrous big 4 his first frame, but luckily his other teammates have come through with a triple since then. Well, let's see if he can keep it going here. Certainly he's going to want to move his feet right after that mid-lane reaction that he saw. And he gets it out further left and comes up and slaps the 7. He makes the adjustment. You saw that ball go further out to the spot. It was definitely at least 2 boards left of his first shot. And he says, that looks better, that looks better. Turns up, slap the 7. And how about the next 4 for this Worlds team? And that's going to give their lead now, up their lead to 30 pins, and putting some distinct pressure now on this Orion team. And it's up to Karen here. Can she put a double on the board to cut into this lead, maybe slow down some of this World's momentum? And there's a good stroke. It's to the right, and oh, just a little bit down the oil, and leaves the ring 7. A heartbreaking shot when they needed the strike to counter the 4-bagger from the other team. She gets this right up the 12 board. It's a little bit straighter, so she's in the oil. This Gateway Arch oil pattern has more oil inside of the 10 board than outside of it, so if you pull it up the lane, it's about a 9-to-1 ratio, and it will skid a little bit on you, and that's what happened, I think, to Karen there. And it skids down the lane and leaves the ring 7. and she goes ahead and converts, but unfortunately that is not the strike that they needed, and they now are down 30 pins, and they're going to have their work cut out for them because this Worlds team looks dialed in. The only chink in the armor was that first frame by Kenny B.O., and everyone else strikes, and then Kenny comes back and strikes. So Worlds team looking very strong. Now Anthony Triguedet had that 7-9 in the first frame. He gets it out to the dry, turns it up, and gets the mixer. And what a strange leave there. Leaves the 9-10. And once again, a symptom of his ball just not making the corner and not turning very hard through the pins. Now that's right up the 11 board. It's normally a pretty good shot. He just needs, I think he just needs more aggressive equipment. He gets it down the lane and just doesn't make the corner. And leaves that 9-10, a very bizarre spare. And a difficult spare. He's got to put this right in between the 9 and the 10. So basically line up and shoot your 6-pin and hope you can get it dead in the middle of those two and convert this spare. Otherwise it's going to be even more of a lead for the Worlds team. He gets left, goes cross lane, doesn't quite get it done. Goes over to the 10-pin side of that split and leaves them open. And now we're into the 40s, 43-pin lead by the Worlds team sitting on the bench. And with the very tough Jaime Gonzalez coming up, once again that shiny reality check. See how he does here. And out to the dry, turns up, 5 in a row. No drama there, as we say. Another flush strike, and just perfect execution by this team. Their lead now in the 50s. And Jaime, of course, a fixture on the Colombian national team. And a great shot there. Jaime also has a top 10 in the USBC Masters. So very accomplished international player and in the U.S. And here goes Halver trying to extend the string to 6 in a row. And looks like he tripped at the line a little bit. Oh my goodness, that's 4. He looks like he's stuck at the line maybe a little bit. And watch this ball pick up in the mid lane, just like Kenny B.O. earlier. It turns through and leaves about as few pins as you can get on that shot, and that's 4. and sometimes we yell 4 as in golf when you have that leave. So that is a terrible leave, and maybe gives the Orion team a little bit of hope here. So giving them loose 6 pins and counts. Now he goes after the spare and only goes 7 out. So goes to the right of the 3-pin, trying to get that 3-pin over to the 4-7. Can't do it. That's going to leave him 7 out. So now down to 145, pacing to 205. And Orion pacing at 174, so a 31-pin lead now. But Orion still with room. Orion still with 214 possible. So they can still come back in this match. And Carol Orange unfortunately goes to the Brooklyn side again. That's 2 shots in a row. Uncharacteristic for her to see her go across. And I think she's picking up some of that dry, and the ball's hooking very early on her in the heads. And this will be her last shot, but she'll need to make that move. She would have had to make that move left to pick up a little bit more head oil. And she leaves the sole 10-pin now. And now, assuming we make this and hook a little bit, no, into the gutter. And now, unfortunately, the Orion team maxing out at 193, so even if they can put together some strikes here, they will need some help by the Worlds team. And unfortunately, that ball heads straight to the gutter, does not make the turn, and that's another open frame, back-to-back opens for Team Orion. And now Gerald Danson in his last shot of the match, and he struck his first time. See what he can do here. Straight up the lane, a little bit high, and just leaves the sole 4-pin. And now even more trouble for Team Orion. Their max now at 183. And you can see that ball pick up. It was a little bit right of target and then picked up on the dry, goes straight through the beak. And I would have to say trouble now for Team Orion. Spare here and strikes off the sheet, gives them 183. They would need some getting to be more substantial help now from the Worlds team. But another 4 count might help. Let's see what Jack Blythe can do here. He struck his first time up. And this will be Jack's last shot of the match, last frame of the match. And of course, Jack with that perfect form. He's a 4-time English champion. He won 5 medals at the European Youth Championships. He's an accomplished player. And again, that good stroke, solid at the line, down the lane, keep the speed up, but that goes through the beak. These lanes are transitioning as we speak. That ball goes right through the beak for the 3-6-10 combination. Watch this ball pick up. Last time he put it almost in the same place. It went through the mid lane and turned up and convincingly struck, but this time might have been maybe a board left to target, maybe. And it picks up in the mid lane and just hooks right through the beak. And now Jack goes left side straight at the 3-6-10 and converts. Good shot there. And they'll just need one more mark in 2 frames to basically lock this up, because they only have to beat at this point 183. So if Kenny B.O. can put a mark on the board here, it will be the Worlds team against Team Sirius in the final. And Team Sirius, of course, the lower of the seeds. Team Worlds and Team Comet's the number 1 and number 2 seed in our competition. Kenny B.O. mark to win. Takes his time. Makes a nice pass at it, gets it out to the dry, and comes up high again. Boy, these lanes are changing quickly. This championship match is going to be very interesting on this transition. And there is hooked through the beak, but leaves, fortunate to leave only the 4-pin. And let's see if he can convert this, but that would be enough. If he could just make this spare, that will put his team in the 180s in the 9th frame, and the best Orion can shoot is 183. So this spare will actually do it if Kenny can convert. Shout out to Bruno Bidone and Helene Parker, your French commentators. And he does make the spare. Good shot there, and that will do it for Team Worlds. As I was saying, shout out to Bruno Bidone, our most excellent host and organizer and promoter of these bowling promotion tour matches. My name is Bruce Hall. I'm the international commentator for these competitions, and very happy to be here and part of this exciting set of matches for you. The 2024-2025 tour will be touring France the last 2 weeks of September if you want to be part of this exciting competition. And there's a pretty good shot by Karen, but that goes high. Everything going high now. As you can see, the lane's breaking down, particularly in the mid lane. It looks like it gets through the front pretty well, but watch this. It gets to the mid lane and makes that right turn right through the beak. And there is the 2-4-7. And you can check out the bowling promotion website for details on that tour through France. And there's a chop through the middle, but it's academic. It was already out of wood, so unfortunately we're going to be at a fairly low score, an uncharacteristically low score for Team Orion with 4 opens already, and 128 in the 9th. And now it will be Anthony Trigaday finishing things out for Team Orion. a good run for this team. They ground out a tough match in their first match, and then they have met a formidable opponent here in the Worlds team who will move on to the championship. Now, this is a symptom of not having enough reaction. You have to move left, and you point the ball, and unfortunately now it picks up and hooks over to the Brooklyn side. So he leaves the 4-pin here and converts. And unfortunately, this is going to put them only in the 140s. Uncharacteristically low score. We had a couple of interesting splits, a 7-9 and a 9-10 from Trigger Day. And he comes up high again. There's the strike. He points it right at the pocket and gets the strike of his 4 shots. That's the one that struck. So 148 for Team Orion. And nice run for them. And now it will be Jaime Gonzalez on a victory lap here. Just a matter of what they can end up shooting. They're pacing to 204. And once again, we'll be back here on this YouTube channel. Hit like and subscribe. We have over 30,000 subscribers, doing incredibly well on this channel. And here is Jaime with the encouragement from the crowd. And he nice and steady at the line. Once again, gets it out to the dry. He relies on that sharp hook on that reality check. It turns up hard to leave a 4-pin. And now a spare strike will put them in the 2-0s. He says, well, that one turned a little bit harder than I expected, but good enough because we've already locked up the match. And now Jaime will go across the lane with the plastic ice ball from Storm. And don't forget, we still have the Masters stepladder to come, and we do have more mixed team Baker competition for you on this same YouTube channel. And again, thanks to Bruno Bidone. You see Bruno there on the left with the headset on, our promoter and organizer. And Jaime just going to wrap things up here, and then we will be off, and it will be the championship match left to bowl for this Team Baker competition. Last shot of the match by Jaime Gonzalez. And comes up to strike. Appropriate finish. 203 finish for Team Worlds. They have punched their ticket into the final against Team Sirius. That will be our next match here on this Team Baker competition for the Bowling Promotion Tour. Once again, Bruce Hall here, your international commentator. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you back here on the same YouTube channel for more exciting Bowling Promotion Tour action.